Tax collector.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We got to talk into these microphones, because I keep getting feedback that it's got to get picked up by the recording. So, again, like a rock star, you got to eat the microphone. Okay. Town of Southington Board of Finance. This is a department presentation workshop. Today is Thursday, February 26th. It's 6:32 p.m. We're beginning. And the first department is the assessment or assessors department. Just
Hello,
remember
everyone.
to,
Is that good?
speak loud and keep the mic close.
Okey doke. First off, I want to say thank you. I'm Erin O'Connell, the assessor. I'm kind of new at this, but I do want to express my gratitude to Alex, who has supported me in my new position with common sense, common courtesy, and facts. And that's the way we base everything in our office, and it actually works out really well. And as you all know, we've had some staffing issues, so I have to give credit to my staff, Lisa, Michelle, and Zatara, who have worked so hard during these months when we're understaffed. And that will come through with the fact that in my budget, I do have I will be requesting some increases for their pay and also their education, and to promote them as things go along. All righty, do you have, you all have this in front of you. Do you want me just to read what we're asking for?
Yeah, or highlight, maybe, what I usually ask people to do, Erin, and I didn't send the email this year, is to talk about, like, what does your department do for the town? Because it's
Excellent.
really for us, but also for all the viewers. But what does the department do? What are some of the challenges? If you did anything innovative regarding, because we're a finance board, regarding saving money or doing something more efficiently, tell us. And then what you're asking for, and if anything that you're asking for is higher or lower than it was, explain it. That's kind of the long and short of it.
Okay, that's great. So the assessor's office, everybody thinks it's just car and house taxes, and we're so much more than that, although that's a big part of it. As you know, we just went through reval, took a year and a half to do, and we're still actually dealing with that. We've just prepared all the appeals that'll happen. That reval was really tough because we're taking values from 2020 to 2025. In addition to that, we do personal property taxes, so we spend probably 3 months on that, and that's all the businesses in town. We go through all their files, all their acquisitions, anything they have, things they've gotten rid of. So we're redoing all of those files every year as well. Motor vehicle, the state of Connecticut is looking to make that an easier task, and they've created a depreciation schedule based on MSRP. So that hopefully will give us a little less work to do as far as pricing the motor vehicles. Most of them should come already priced at their MSRP. And the computer will do the work based on the age that they were built. We also do elderly benefits. We do veteran benefits, disabled benefits. Those products are typically state-run with income limits that are based from the state. As far as single, married, how old you are, there's all kinds of criteria as to how you can qualify for those benefits. So any person that's on most of these has to come in and requalify every 2 years. So we're doing all of those people every other year. Did you have a question? Oh, okay.
No, I'm good.
So we also work with all the nonprofits. This year was another qualifying year for all the nonprofits. It was another qualifying year for the farms and forests. And then, of course, we have some other exemptions that the city has that are local options, or our DECD, which is our, for the areas where they're adding new to manufacturing and whatnot. And then, of course, we have to stay on top of all the new legislation changes. One of the newer programs that we have, I know that information has been passed on through the assessor's report, is a permanently and totally disabled, which is a new program. The state has, and then we also decided to add a local option to include land So there's a big loss there as far as income based on those permanently and totally disabled veterans. So those are some of the things that we do. And one of the things is, we've been working without a deputy since July 1. So that is an opening that we're looking to fill. We have been looking to fill. If you go onto the CAAO, which is the assessor's website, you'll see tons of openings because there's just not enough qualified assessors out there. It's just a dip in a cycle. Who knows what
Is
it
there a
is.
certification they have to have?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's actually hard to get it only because the classes are not offered like all the time. You can't take a class in semesters. It's like there's only offered once a year. You have to have so many classes to take a test. You have to work in an assessor's office for 3 years before you're even allowed to take the test. So there's
you
a
have
lot of
anyone-
qualifications towards it.
Do you have anyone in the office now who would be ready to take a test?
Actually, yes, we have one girl who's preparing to take the test. I'm certified, we have another certified, but then within your certification, you know, you might have a specialty. Like mine, more or less, is real estate. Another girl, she's the other girl who's just going to take her test. She's more into real estate as well. And we have another girl who's just starting to take classes. She does a lot of the exemptions. Everybody is so good at their job. My goal as a boss is to promote them, give them all the education opportunities that we possibly can, and to keep them, because it's hard to replace.
So is it your the assessment technician who's one of the assessment technicians who's about to?
So let's see.
Who would be
We have
eligible?
no deputy right now. Then we
Right.
have the administrative assistant who has just taken her first class.
Okay.
Of the assessment technicians, there's two of them, one is certified, but she's actually doesn't have as much experience, and the other one is getting ready to probably take her test. The test is only offered once a year.
Do we pay more once they've taken their tests, or
No.
is this just on? Okay.
No, but I did put in for, of course, they're going to have new contracts this summer, so we're hoping that they get bumped up a level. So what you see here is their current position, and I was told to leave that, their current pay, to leave that in hopes that they're, with the new union contract, that they do get the bumps. I do have an increase, if you wanted to know, we have the town, the regular wages at 407,820. If they get, and that's still including a deputy assessor position, if I can get the bumps that I'm requesting, that number would be 432,754. So that would be an increase of 24,934 in payroll. And I really do, I mean, anybody that could come into our office, first off, our girls were so good to the people, very helpful. It's a good office, and I'm very grateful to have them. Okay, so that is our payroll. Going down the list here, we don't have anybody with longevity. You know what Thursday night meals are. Reval is just money that we keep funding, so every 5 years we have that money in there to pay for the reval. Contracted services. So this would be the third year coming that we do personal property audits. About 35 companies are selected for a personal property audit, and that tends to bring in an additional, this past year was about $156,000. And then, of course, that carries over to the following years. So if we realize that their personal property assessment was too low and it's brought up, that then stays for the next year and the next year and the next year. Today, I got stuck on a driveway because we have terrible tires, so we do have $1,000 in our car maintenance, hope to get some snow tires. And everything else is pretty straightforward. Office supplies, we know that we're going to be separating that out. Postage is going to get separated from there, as is subscriptions. Dues and conferences, because we're an office of 4 right now, the class that I'm going to send the girls to this summer, which is, like I said, is only offered once a year, 2 of them will go. I should go because we have to maintain our certification, and you can only maintain your certification through classes that are offered at these very few times per year. So, we'll be short-staffed for that week there. Everything else is pretty status quo.
You travel, you said you were doing inspections yourself?
Yeah.
What do you look for? What do you look at? What does that entail?
Well, it all depends. Today I had two homes that I went to because we've been short-staffed and because the weather has been either super cold and now that the ground is covered with snow, it's not a great time for us to be out there. But these two people, one guy's getting ready to sell his house, so he needed kind of quick information. And then this other home, it's been determined that we were charging them for finished attics, and they didn't have that. And they're getting ready to do some improvements on their homes. So it was brought to their attention that our property card was wrong. And our job, whether their taxes go up or down, our job is to make sure that property card is correct, okay? We don't care
Yeah.
who it belongs to, up or down, we want
So
it
if
to be
somebody
correct.
challenges their property card, you say, I got to come take a look.
Absolutely. We're never going to take something off without seeing it. So in this case, in the second case, they did not have finished attic. They did not have usable attic. They had a scuttle and a pull-down. A finished attic or an unfinished attic that could be finished would have to have some sort of set-up staircase that is easy to be finished. Otherwise, it's just you're popping your head through a scuttle. That is not ready to be finished. So anyways, that's the
Yeah.
adjustment I'm making for those folks. And the other guy took over his garage, had a room, made it into 2 bedrooms, went to see that, measured it out, and then we'll correct the property card. He's getting ready to sell his house, so he wants that done as soon as possible. So actually, we're very, very prompt with the homeowner. They got a lot of things going on. They're getting ready to sell their house, or they're having an appraisal done. It's got to be correct.
Yeah, we're all for correct.
I have a question about the overtime pay. I imagine it's higher this year because of the assessments, the
Yep.
revals, I'm sorry. What, maybe, Chrissy, maybe you know, the 2026 projected still says 0. Is that just, we just need to fix that as opposed to
I
the
imagine
year-to-date?
so. I wondered that myself. So this is the first year, because we were so understaffed, that they allowed overtime. I don't get overtime, but the girls, the other girls, and we couldn't just say add it on as comp time because then everybody's going to end up with all this time they need to take off. So we couldn't do that. So we did, with the help of Alex and finance, they decided to give the girls overtime, basically because we don't have this deputy position right now, so we're using those funds to pay overtime.
Okay, so normally there isn't this much overtime, even with the revals, if there'd been the deputy assessor? You think, I was just curious.
Yeah,
It's not
well,
a ton of
the
money.
last time we had a reval, I was deputy, and I handled most of that. You know, if we're fully staffed, the office really, we're a very busy office, and actually, everybody likes to just be busy. We go to work, we're busy, we leave. So we know there was never overtime before.
Is the deputy assessor eligible for overtime?
I don't think, is it?
Is that position?
Comp time?
Oh.
Okay, so I guess so.
Thank you.
Yeah, but typically, we're getting the work done when we're fully staffed.
I don't have a question on the budget, but I mean, everybody in the town is curious on the assessments, and I know now is not the time to go deep into it. But are a lot of people challenging their assessments?
Yes.
How many are holding up as valid versus flawed in some way?
Well, typically, when we have the Board of Assessment Appeals, the assessor's office will go through each one and try to make sure that the people that are appealing a value with, with the proper information they need to appeal. They can't just come in and say, hey, this is too high. We need to know why. Do you doing your comp work or your comparisons? We want to help them be prepared for the appeal. This year, it was more so because it wasn't that there was something wrong with their property card, because we would come in, and if they were coming in to hand in an appeal, our first question to them is, let's go over your property card and make sure it's correct. We don't want you to have to go in there and fight and say, hey, I don't have a finished basement. You say you have a finished basement, or you don't have a finished basement, because we'll fix that. That's a fixable item for us. So we wanted to make sure that they are just really arguing their value. So we have about, I think it's 172 appointments set up for appeals, and that's March 12th and 14th. And then it's 42 appeals at this point for things that are over $1 million. That won't be heard, that will go to Superior Court, or they'll start with the town's attorney.
The appeal is $1 million or the total value?
I'm sorry, the assessment is over $1 million. So they feel that the Board of Appeals, might not be the ones to handle something of,
Is that normal, or is that just in this particular reval?
Oh, no, that's normal. That's a
That's
state.
normal,
Yep.
okay. Because I'm trying to, as you speak, I'm thinking, if we have a problem with our grand list, like an error,
Yes,
like the time we had the $500,000 motorcycle, if we have an error, removing that error reduces the amount of taxes we're going to collect. So we've got to just be aware of
yes,
any major changes to those assessment values. If you're saying it's just the normal crew coming in, some go to court, if it's a normal cadence, that's okay. If it's heightened because of the reval or the shift in value to smaller homes seem to go up almost 100%, where the average real estate on the grand list went up 53.7%, some houses went up 100. And
I-
that's kind of
Right.
going to be very unsettling to those folks. If it's real, but could be very unsettling to them.
I have to say, the appeals that came to the Munival, when the Reval Company had their appeals here first, a lot of people understood it, and it's a fact. You can see, oh, here's the sales we used for this type of house. And it hurts. It hurts them, but it's real. So it's unfortunate, and we can only hope that these values stay there for now. And as we know, even if the values duck down, we're holding on to this assessment for 5 years.
5 years.
So the only thing that's good about that is it is apples to apples when it comes to that. Because if your house is overappraised next year, not this year should be right on. But if the market dips next year, everybody's still staying at the same thing. It's not just your house, it's not just your house.
Now, tell me just quickly about the farms. The farms were allowed to hold, so you certify a farm, it's got to be a real farm, because you said earlier, you go out and do a test every few years that the farm's still a farm.
And we send out a questionnaire, they fill
Yeah.
it out for what they do.
And if the farms are held to a value of the 2020 values,
Yes,
but those farms are now going to be subject to our new mill rate, which is way lower than the 32. It's going to be around 25. So the farms are going to have they're going to make out at everybody else's expense, right? So if a farm gets to hold its old value, so the reval did not go up on the farm, but the farm gets the benefit of our new mill rate. So instead of paying a mill rate of 32.81, they're going to pay a mill rate of maybe 24.5.
well, it's going to be the same thing for a motor vehicle. Those motor vehicles had that maximum mill rate. Those are also going to go down. So a car that was maybe valued
last
at
year.
$5,000 is going to be a little less because it's going to have its 5% depreciation. And now at a lower mill rate, may come down, 2 or 3 times as much as it.
But the farm is significant because it gets
Yep.
the lower value and the lower mill rate. That was a part I think the state didn't think about. Like they said, oh, we'll let you hold at the old value. Wonderful, to try and protect them, their agriculture, whatever the reason. But also, not thinking it through or not understanding it fully.
Correct.
That they're going to be subject to the new mill rate. So somebody in the small house or the regular house or something that's not a farm is going to end up paying more because they're going to pay their share of what they would have paid had the farm been valued like everybody else. So we got to be,
It is the state's desire, as it is the town's desire, to hold on to this open space. So, I think that's the give and take.
right, but I don't think it was anybody's desire to apply the new mill rate to the farm, and you want to allow the farm to hold its old value, that's one thing. But then to let the farm have the benefit of the new mill rate, the farm is going to go, a farm last year to this year is going to pay a hell of a lot less taxes. But when one doesn't pay, whether it's the state law on the disabled, or somebody gets an abatement, or somebody gets an arrangement, anytime somebody gets an arrangement, somebody else has to pay. The taxes don't disappear.
You're
The town
correct.
still needs its 188 million.
Yes, it does.
That's the problem.
It's
A lot
the
of people
shift
don't
in burden,
understand.
yes.
We have a lot of groups who come and they'll say, I'm seniors, we paid our tax forever. We lived in town 100 years and we've been paying taxes forever. We don't feel we should pay them anymore. Then we have, again, I criticize that guy over and over, the governor of Florida, who said, you pay your tax when you buy your house, why should you pay your tax every year thereafter, which is a misleading statement, because the year you buy your house, you're paying some form of conveyance tax that Sandy just talked about before the meeting. You pay a conveyance tax, like some type of a sales tax. That's once when you buy it. The tax you pay after that has nothing to do with sales tax, same with your car. You're just paying your share of the operating expenses of the town, whether they call it real estate tax or car tax, it technically is. But
Right.
under the covers, it isn't. It's you paying your share of the cost to operate the town. So when anybody, a group of people, a particular property gets an abatement,
Yes.
or an arrangement is made with someone, like the farms, all of a sudden, this town still needs to collect the 188 million. If the farm isn't going to pay, or somebody has an abatement, and somebody else, a group of people decide, we're in a special group, we shouldn't pay, you just always have to remember that somebody else has to pay that, and that's just a statement, not an assessor issue, but.
Well, you're absolutely right, and, you call it a shift, but when a town does promote or activate all these other programs, somebody is paying for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got to watch, and, just to finish up on Florida, they found another way. You can't eliminate your property tax and celebrate it unless you have another source of income, because how are you going to pay your schools, your firemen, your policemen,
Right.
and every other thing in your budget if you eliminate the property tax? There has to be another source of revenue to replace it.
Correct.
Florida's lucky they have tourism tax and they have other buckets to reach into. We don't.
Right.
So we're all property tax dependent, and when one person gets a break, another person pays more, and that's the reality of it. But that's not your fault. So I'm a little impassioned over it, but it has nothing to do, you said 100 times over that you just want to make it right. You want to have the right card, the right appraisal, the right value, whether it means you pay more tax or less, and that's the absolute right thing to do.
Yeah.
So I give you all the credit for that.
Thank you, we work hard at that.
I don't have any other questions, except if you have more insight into the grand list later on when you start digging in, please let us know.
Yeah, I have a file for you, I'll send it to you
All
tomorrow.
right, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, next. Revenue collections.
Good evening. I'm Hillary Monorat. I'm the new collector for the town. I started in October. And just a simple summary of what the office does. As you're all aware, the tax office converted to the collector of revenues office back in July when we took over the sewer billing and collections as well. The office is responsible for billing and collecting both property taxes and sewer. We are, more than just a collection. I like to say, of all the years that I've been collector, I don't want it to be transactional. That's one of the key things that I want to always stress. This is not a transaction between us and the residents or the taxpayers, because we do probably see the most face-to-face interaction with our residents, and we want to have the best impression with our residents, the best interaction with our residents. So I like to take a lot of pride in the staff. They've been fantastic, very, informative, very great customer service, and really taking the time that whatever residents need as they come into the office. Sometimes we do feel rushed during collection season, which is January and July, but the other times I want to make sure that, we really, if residents need an extra helping hand going through the website or explaining things, we take a lot of pride in being able to do that for them. Besides the normal collection period, we collect sewer 12 months out of the year right now. And during those downtimes, we're working on delinquent notices, refunds, certificate of correction, sending out any type of communication with the taxpayer, and a lot of just delinquent payments throughout the year. So it isn't just, the busy time isn't just July and January. Any questions about what our office does?
Oh, so you now picked up the sewer bills, you do the transfer station permits?
Correct, yep. That is
You collect any other revenue, or just the taxes and the sewer bills?
taxes and sewer right for now.
You see, as in last year, we've actually allocated some of the funding of the office to the sewer fund to make it more equitable for the ratepayers and the taxpayers as well.
Where do I see that?
In the wage item, under the deputy and the revenue cashier, it says split funded, so only half of the salary is in the budget. The other half is under the sewer budget.
Can I ask a question about cost savings? I'm sure John will, but I just, because we've spoken at the sewer committee, I think you have some ideas about how to save us on postage and things by changing.
The sewer, yeah.
The sewer, I don't know if that's something that's, would impact the next,
I think that's
budget
going to impact
cycle?
more with the sewer budget rather than
rather
the
than
general fund.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
I just saw the bill processing and postage
Yeah.
in here, so I
Yep.
thought maybe it was.
Sewer has its own postage and billing budget and different operational stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Are you also trying to collect the past due sewer bills? Is that on you, or is that on somebody else?
It's all on us.
It's all on you?
Yeah,
You
we're
inherited
working on it.
You inherited it.
Yes, we're working on it. I think I think it was a smart move on the town's behalf in bringing sewer over to tax. A lot of municipalities do that, and by doing so, you have the authority of the tax collector that the state grants a tax collector to collect sewer. There's just more authority. We have different training, different practices. We have different resources. So it's going to be very beneficial to the sewer fund that the revenue office is now collecting.
Good.
So
We had people who haven't paid for 10, 15 years.
Yep. We have the list. We're working on it. We have some businesses that I've already visited, and then we'll be in contact with the escrow companies, and then we want to give them a little time.
Yeah.
We want to figure
Yeah,
it
but
out.
17 years.
Yep. We want to give them a little time. We're working on it, and as they are communicating with the office,
Yeah.
I do let them know. You're at risk of losing your property. The town doesn't want to do that. That's not our intention. Unfortunately, we all have to pay our fair share. By you not paying, somebody else is paying your portion. And we really
Yeah.
make a strong effort to communicate it. Some people don't want to hear it. Some people, it hits them a little differently.
Well, the carrot works better than the stick until you need the stick. But yeah, I appreciate any good honest effort to let them understand and give them a chance to pay it. But
Yeah. And we're trying to segregate the delinquencies with sewer. We're attacking the higher balances first. We don't want it to take on more than we can chew. So
Yeah.
we're sectioning it off. We're going to work our way down to the lower balances. So, we work with the top 30-something right now, and we'll see where we're at in a couple months with that. And then, as the threshold can come down, we can start looking at just working our way down the list.
Yeah.
Because if we try to attack everyone at once, we're just not going to be
No, you don't have
successful.
the
We just
capacity.
don't. We
Yeah.
just don't. Correct.
Okay. So anything unusual in the budget?
Nothing too crazy. I have put in a request for a deputy collector because right now the office is operating on a collector and 2 cashiers and clerks. I think that it's essential for us to have a deputy because unfortunately, I can't do it all. I can't do all the administrative stuff. I think having a strong number 2 is important because they're going to learn the skills and we're just going to be able to be more efficient. Most towns do run on a collector and an assistant collector because you should have an assistant or a deputy that's able to do 80 to 85% of the job. Because if I fell ill or something, what would the town do?
Do you need it for segregation of duties as well?
Absolutely. It's a nice checks and balance for the office. And, I always say that it's better to have 3 very strong, efficient, high-producing individuals than 5. And having one person having to manage those 4 others. And we have, a town of our size. There's towns almost half our size running on a collector, an assistant, and a clerk. So I think I'm confident that with the right staff and the right process, finding efficiency, we'll be very good at what we do with 3 strong individuals in the office. So that's our biggest, I think, change. Everything else pretty much falls into line. My second, probably highest expenditure is postage and billing, which is, it's standard, it's required, we have to send out the bills. I'm getting a lot of complaints because it's February that you should send out another bill in December for January, and I try to explain 17,000 parcels when we have a few hundred that forgot. I can't justify asking for another $10,000 or $15,000 to send out another billing. So those are our biggest expenditures. The other one is conferences and education. I'm certified. We have another individual in the office that's going to be certified. We have to maintain our certification. And it's important because we're explaining the law to residents, whether it's on the phone or in person. And you really do have to have a knowledgeable staff. Nobody is a cashier. Everyone works at the counter. Everyone has to have knowledge and be able to explain intelligently and confidently. And that's with training and education.
Can't argue with that. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you, and thank
Thank you,
everybody
appreciate
back-
it.
Thank everybody back in the office, too. Got to make sure I say that to everyone here. Okay, moving on, recreation.
Page 90, Mr. Chairman.
Page who, 90?
90.
Okay, everything.
Good evening, everyone. So recreation, quick overview of what our department does. The mission is to provide quality recreational programs and facilities to our residents. We plan and implement a variety of youth and adult programs. Currently, we have throughout a year 30 to 35 programs right now that run. Our staff consists of myself. Last year, we hired a individual who takes care of parks, assistant superintendent of parks and recreation. So he's been a good addition. Obviously, on the park side, he's been quite busy, so getting him over to rec has been a little bit slower than we expected, but we're moving him along, and he's doing a great
Is that
job.
an office job, or is that
No.
really parks, like the mowing and the
Yeah, that's-
groundskeeping?
Yeah, he's been, DJ Voisin, David Voisin is that employee. He's been fantastic. He's got a great vision for that department, and he's going to be a good asset to this town for many years to come.
Is he accounted for in the regular wages?
He's in the highway parks budget.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then our admin assistant. So we, to Hillary's point, she mentioned surrounding communities and other towns and their staff. We have 3. We also oversee 80 to 100 part-time seasonal employees throughout the year. It could be lifeguards, Music on the Green employees, youth theater employees. Other towns our size and smaller, they have staffs of 6 program coordinators, et cetera. So for what we offer, a town this size with the staff we have, I think we do a great job with that. We provide assistance for community events. Music on the Green is one of them, Touch a Truck, et cetera. Manage rentals of town fields. We also handle booking of the community turf field, interact with the AD's office at the high school, and getting our youth leagues on there. All rentals that come in for request, outside groups to use the turf field come through our department. We handle that as well. We assist closely with all the youth leagues in town. As you all know, in the rec budget, we have an organized rec account. They receive a subsidy every year from the town. So our department works closely with them throughout the year in scheduling time on all the fields, park fields, school space. They utilize a lot of town school fields as well, indoor school space. The handling of coordinating and booking all that time is through our department. Pavilion rentals, the signboard over here, which seems to be full every week of the year, even throughout the winter. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that's basically what we do, and we work closely with a lot of nonprofit groups in town, civic groups as well. Some of those groups sponsor, say, Music on the Green. They donate money to help cover the cost for bands, et cetera. So we do have a good connection with a lot of civic groups and nonprofits in town as well. Any questions on the department as a whole?
Alex, where are the youth leagues?
Back, go down to the next page, page 93.
They're under organized recreation.
Separate,
Okay.
separate account. Are the leagues getting adequate funding? Are they asking for more? Are they getting too much? Just any insight you have on that?
I believe right now they're getting adequate funding. Every 3 to 4 years, the park board looks into getting information from these youth leagues that we sponsor to see what their budgets look like, to see what their registration numbers look like. Currently, right now, we are doing that, myself along with the park board. And at next Wednesday's meeting, we'll be going over all that information that we requested. So, it depends on, some leagues may have dropped in numbers. Do they need that amount they're getting? So right now, the park board is looking into that.
Are we also I'm sorry, go ahead.
Does any of this money go to like helping with the parks themselves, like fields or whatever? Or is that
Yeah, a lot of-
funding? Because it's not a lot here, a lot of money.
It's actually lower than what it used to be. I would say 8 years ago, that number was higher. There was a time when state funding was, and John, you probably remember, was not as good coming from the state. The town was looking at dropping that subsidy down to zero over a 5-year period, and then that got put on the back burner, and this number was set. They do, town leagues do take care of some fields. They say baseball, they'll get the clay for the infields, their line markers. The park department mows it, stripes the paint on the outfield lines. We do assist with them when we have time on some of that work that they do, but they do have a cost for upkeep of the fields, yeah.
Some are very particular, huh? They
They-
wouldn't let me rake the infield, because if you rake it the wrong way, it makes a hump.
Very much
And
so.
I had to
Take-
learn.
Take a look at girls softball league up at Panther Park. That facility up top is fantastic. They take pride in it. All the youth leagues do. I'm not saying some don't, but that's an example of a group that really takes pride in those fields and puts some money back into it. Yeah.
How has the minimum wage increase affected us as a town?
Very much so it has. It's increased to, I think, January 1st, $16.97 an hour, which reflects in the temporary seasonal wages account in the rec budget for that increase. And it's been going up over the last year. It seems like every 4 or 5 months for a period there. So we have to adjust our budget accordingly. So it does have an impact on.
Have we cut services or just upped our budget?
We have not cut services. No.
Can I ask about the overtime line? I saw in 2025, we actually spent $12,000. Is that?
Are you?
Oh, no, I'm back on recreation. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm back on the rec page. But is that, we only project 1,500? Is it, what
Yeah,
are we
that's
doing overtime
basically a
for?
cushion there for, I go in a lot for some programs. I don't get overtime, obviously. When I need my admin assistant to be there to check people in or to oversee something, that 1,500 is there just for that.
Okay.
What made it 12,000 previous? We must have did a
Yeah, I'm
transfer in
not,
there or something.
yeah, I'm not sure why that was like that. I don't recall ever
Okay.
in my time that number being there.
Looks like a blip or something.
Yeah. Other than that, in the rec budget, it's not that much of an increase. Like I said, in the temp seasonal, that increases for take into account the minimum wage. And one thing to mention too is, as far as programming goes, and I have mentioned this in the past, we have a rec fund for the the rec department through the finance department as well. And that encompasses all the programs that we offer, which is a revolving account. There's no taxpayer dollars that is not budgeted for. All those charges for signing up take care of covering the cost of those programs. The goal is to eventually have all of our programs, and right now, only youth theater is the major one in the general budget that is included in there. That's a big program. My goal is to, when I switch a program over, is to make sure it's close to breaking even. If not breaking even, we're almost there with youth theater. So maybe next year that might be pulled out of here, where we can throw that in the rec fund, and then this budget will drop substantially.
Everybody good? Want to roll right into Public Works?
Sure.
69, everybody.
All right, so Department overview, we plow snow. That's a joke. It seems like that's all we've been doing lately, as you know. But we're responsible for maintaining town roads, all the parks, public spaces, municipal buildings, the grounds on the municipal buildings. As I said, snow removal and treatment of roads, the operation of the transfer station, the fall leaf pickup program. We assist the public on daily calls, which is substantial, even not counting the winters. During the summer, the calls that come in could be sporadic on anything. We change our shifts, our duties to meet those requests that are coming in.
What are those requests?
Roadkill could be one of them. It seems like every day we're getting phone calls of something on the ground. We got to get out there, pick it up. Sightline issues, which we always try to keep up with those throughout the year. This year in the winter, we're not able to do that because of the snow on the ground. But if we have a sightline issue at a stop sign area, gets called in. It could be a variety of things. Trash, roadside trash. We have a program where we're out there weekly doing roadside trash pickup around town. In all honesty, that can be done every single day that we're in. The amount of roadside trash is pretty big, and it is a problem in town. There's no doubt.
Sloppy people or bad garbage trucks?
Sloppy people, I would say, yeah. Yeah. You got areas of town that are hot spots up by the reservoir, on Ledge Road, out that way. Welch Road, for some reason, is always a high area. The roads out by Old Ruggles Row, out by the truck stop. It's all over town, but there are several hot spots that we have in town. And it's just trash being thrown out the window. Sofas, home stuff, TVs, tires.
Window.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
As far as budget goes, do you guys have any questions right off the bat on anything, or?
Well, anything that had big movement would be. Oh, Ed, go ahead.
In regards, I know it's been a busy season this winter, but as far as equipment comfortable, or I know some of them trucks are.
Yeah, in the capital budget, I do have some things to reflect that. Equipment we've had, as far as vehicles go, we are dealing with, I believe, 5 or 6 vehicles that are 25 years older. That is catching up to us at this point, in all honesty. We've, at one point, had a storm where we had 8 trucks down at one time, which, good thing it wasn't this storm that we just had, because we would have been in big trouble. So yeah, we've had some issues with the line items where we're not just there yet. My goal is to get those to where they need to be, so that at the end of the year, it seems like when I came in and reviewed 4, 5, 6 years of history, it's been a lot of transferring of money, appropriating of money from other accounts that maybe didn't reach that budgeted level. This year, we're not there. It's like, as you've seen at the last meeting, I'm appropriating and asking for transfers. And I would like to see where we have a true budget where it reflects the numbers that we really need. So equipment-wise, yeah, we've had a lot of equipment go down, like I said, as well as vehicles. But in the capital plan, I do have for 2 new larger trucks. With the old fleet we have, the repairs of those is becoming outstanding. We're not able to even find parts for some. And I would like to see where we can eventually get on a vehicle replacement program, because we should be honestly replacing vehicles every 12 to 13 years tops. Once they hit that level, swap them out and keep getting new ones coming in. So right now we're running with an old fleet, small trucks, big trucks, everything. And we're paying the price.
I know years ago, we used to budget for 5 weather events, 5 snowstorms. And the climate has changed in a way where we're getting longer, more drawn-out ones. They're not as, well, except for recently, not as impactful, but they would go multiple days. Things have changed in the
We're at 15 right now this year.
15 days or 15 events?
15 events. And they require a lot of treatment, which we're using up a lot of salt treatments. Yeah, it's changed. Last year was 14. So We're right now with salt, as you know, and you've probably heard on the news, there's a shortage, even nationwide. We are at about 800 tons, which is not ideal, because as you get into the spring months, the snow may be melting, it's warmer, you get those cold nights, we still have to go out there and treat roads. We've been managing that well, we're not overdoing it. Our Assistant Superintendent of Highway, Brandon Petito, has been doing a great job with coordinating that and communicating with the guys, how much to put down, what to set the calibration at, so we're not over-treating the roads. But it's been a tough winter, obviously.
In the beginning of the season, we stock up. We don't buy,
Well-
we don't do just to order, we stockpile it.
We'll put an order in through the state bid, which comes out in July. So after July, we'll start stocking up. In the capital budget as well, I do have the brine system in there, which is, it's a liquid treatment for roads. So in there, I have to purchase 2 brine truck units to be put on 2 trucks, as well as the brine making system, which can be installed right outside of our facility up there. And the benefit of that is we can cut salt usage between 30 and 50%. It allows us to get out there and treat the roads as much as 24 hours prior with 2 trucks, as opposed to using our whole fleet to go around, circumvent the town, putting salt down, which eventually washes away, et cetera. So this brine system would be a huge cost savings. Eventually, the budget I kept the same for snow and ice, because I want to make sure that it's legit if we do get this, to see what we're saving. But having that will lower overtime cost, staff going out there, as I said, as well as waste being on the surface when we're treating.
Dave, could you kind of talk about your original staffing requests in connection with police, fire, that we've talked to with police, fire, and just the additional amount of work that's going on with the trails?
Sure, yeah.
Et cetera?
So yeah, there was, you'll see where Alex had cut the department request for regular wages down a bit. Initially, we had discussed putting in for 2 new laborers. And as Alex mentioned, we salt for treating and taking care of snow events at municipal buildings, PD, fire. Those require 24 hours. We got to make sure we have somebody, 2 guys, 3 guys, always checking on those. We got to keep them safe. They got their vehicles coming in and out. That takes up a lot of time. It also removes people that we can have out on the road, taking care of the roads. Alex had taken that out after he talked to the fire chief and the police chief, and getting those facilities contracted out, as opposed to us taking care of them.
In the last several years has been you? I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So we'll be in those department services?
And like I said, it just helps us out. And as far as getting guys that we can have out on smaller trucks out in the roads taking care of stuff. So
Can I ask a question about the seasonal wages? Do you have trouble recruiting people for minimum wage for the 14 weeks? I don't, what is that for? What's the 14 weeks?
that is,
People at 14
that's, yeah, for summertime.
Okay.
We have guys in to do some weed whacking and stuff like that. No, we
No?
actually,
Okay.
no, they used to use a temp seasonal private vendor to get our temporary help in. Right now, we have people applying that we don't need to do that. So there is no issue getting those folks.
And what about for leaf season at $20 an hour? Do we ever have to go to contractors? Like, I just, is it
Yeah.
more cost
Yeah,
efficient to just pay a higher wage than to contract out, or no?
Last fall, we used 2 contractors to help out with our leaf pickup. That is because we just don't have the amount of leaf suckers right now to do it in-house. I do have in the capital budget as well, not next year, but further down in the 5-year, to add another one. And that could help us out where we don't have to go out and contract. And that will save, I think between the two vendors that we had in, it was in the ballpark of $65,000 to $70,000 that we paid them.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dave, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, senior services.
Page 84, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Dawn from the calendar house.
Dawn from the calendar house. Welcome, Dawn.
Thank you. Chrissy, I'm going to give you this. I don't have.
Oh, and Dave, make sure you thank everybody. That I don't think your team gets enough credit in the wintertime. So I want to just say to everybody, the highway department, the Parks and Highway together out there, it's not easy. And we know that we have people who, you replow the yard, you block their driveway, occasionally the snow hits the mailbox, you hit the mailbox. Whatever happens, happens. But, 90% of the time, everybody's doing a perfect job, and the town should be totally appreciative of everything everybody's doing. And a couple little mistakes, they happen, and the town will make them right to the extent, the rules. So please thank everybody and let them know they are appreciated.
I will say I was down shoveling the end of my driveway during, the other storm, down shoveling, and the plow came by the other way. He came by, lifted it up on my driveway and put it back down. It was a very nice touch.
He didn't say this is from Dave LaPrame, back up and gun it.
No, I did mention that I knew Dave, and he swung back around and plowed all into my driveway, but no. But the first time, no, but it was a very nice touch, yeah.
I only tried to get a couple,
Maybe they saw you.
of trucks for him, that's all.
Okay. Where are we going here? Page 84. All right, Don, what's going on there?
Doing good. How was everybody here?
We're good.
That's great. Okay, so my name is Dawn Sargis, and I'm the director for the Calendar House Senior Center. So I'm going to start, I'll do, an overview of the department, especially for some of you that are new, may not be as familiar with what the Senior Center does. We do a lot, so hopefully this isn't too lengthy. I'm going to start with our staff. So we have 6 full-time employees, including myself. We have a wonderful staff. We have a program coordinator, an administrative assistant 2, and then we have a combined role of administrative assistant 1, bus driver. She has a CDL license, so we can put her out on the road to help with dial-a-ride when it's needed. And then we have 2 additional full-time bus drivers. We have about 12 part-time non-union employees. That includes backup drivers for dial-a-ride, a dispatcher that assists part-time at the front desk, and then we have instructors for our art and enrichment and exercise classes, and 2 part-time maintenance and custodial employees. So the Calendar House, it's for Southington residents 55 and older, or residents over the age of 18 who are receiving Social Security disability benefits. We currently have over 6,000 registered members in our database, and we average approximately 40 new members every month. We provide resources, services, and activities that meet the needs of older adults and disabled individuals in our community. We assist members with applying for state programs. Some of those programs include energy assistance, the renters rebate program, the Medicare Savings Program, SNAP, and Husky. We provide choices, insurance counseling for Medicare, and offer guidance on how to apply for Social Security benefits. We offer a ton of recreational activities, group exercise classes. We have line dancing, tap dancing, yoga, cardio drumming. We have a full gym with cardio and strength training equipment. We have an indoor pickleball court. We have pool tables, ping pong, a golf league, and an outdoor walking path. Tons of things for seniors to do. We encourage lifelong learning and creativity, offering classes in the arts. We have a weekly open art studio. We have classes for drawing, acrylic painting, watercolor painting, poetry, quilting, and we offer other one-time art classes and workshops as well. We offer computer classes to keep older adults up to date with the latest technology. And we keep people involved by offering opportunities for social interactions. It can be just as simple as people coming in, going to the library, working on a puzzle with a friend. joining a group like the Granny Squares, coming in and knitting and crocheting. So there's a lot for people to do at the senior center. We have a really wonderful and well-attended monthly Veterans Coffee Hour. We offer a ton of cards and games, setback, cribbage, bridge, mahjong, hand and foot canasta, which I don't know what that is, but it's a real thing because we have ladies that come in every other week to play it. We have Scrabble, Pinochle, and of course bingo every Friday, which brings in 100 people every week. Very popular. We have groups, health talks and screenings for older adults, and sometimes even for their pets. We offer low-cost veterinary clinics. We just had one a couple weeks ago. So that's something that people may not know that we
You don't have
offer.
lunch with the Board of Finance on there.
You can come in. I'm going to get to lunch in a few minutes. We have a membership association. It's a 501c4 organization, very active. They subsidize and sponsor many social activities during the year. They cover some costs for additional talks and programs that the town budget may not cover, and they provide a lot of opportunities for volunteers. We have a trip desk that's also through the membership association, and they offer all kinds of travel opportunities, local, domestic, and international. We work really closely with other town departments, community services, the health department, the housing authority, fire, police, youth services for intergenerational programming, and the recreation department is housed within our building, and the center is utilized for their evening programs. We have a lot of community partners. One to mention would be AARP. They provide educational talks, classes, and services throughout the year, such as the tax aid program, which we are in the thick of. We're going to be doing probably about 250 income tax preparation appointments this season. They fill it very fast. They also offer a monthly safe driver course. Our largest program is the Dial-A-Ride Transportation Service. It's a truly valuable program for the members of our community that can't transport themselves. Provides transportation for essential doctor and dental appointments, employment, shopping, personal errands, and it ensures that the most vulnerable members of our community are able to continue to stay connected by bringing them to Calendar House for socialization and participation in services like the nutrition program. It's a huge team effort. We have a wonderful staff. Our ride numbers are up. In fiscal year 24-25, we provided an average of 997 one-way rides per month. But the first half of this fiscal year, we're averaging 1,130 one-way rides per month. We currently have 5 registered service buses in our fleet, and we added a new minivan this year, which has been great. 4 of our 5 buses were acquired with Section 5310 grant funds through the Connecticut DOT, which provides 80% of the vehicle cost. And we also receive funds through the Connecticut DOT State Matching Grant Program for elderly and disabled demand responsive transportation. The maximum grant amount each year for Southington in this current cycle is $54,699, and it must be used for specific operating and administrative costs that relate directly to Dial-A-Ride. I'm just going to take a drink. Any unused funds with the matching grant have to be returned to the state. We use all the funds every year. And you'll hear me refer more to that grant program when we talk a little bit more about the budget. A few highlights from this past year. We had 5 ARPA projects. We've completed 3 of them. We installed a very large storage garage in the back of the property to help with some storage issues that we have in the building. We installed automatic door openers and closers for the larger restrooms in the building, and we installed a new fitness rowing machine for the cardio room. We have 2 more projects that are nearing completion once the snow is out of here. One of those is an outdoor pickleball court, which our members are really very excited
So it's
about.
a what?
An outdoor pickleball court.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have an indoor one. We're going to have an outdoor one now. And then we're going to put a retractable awning over the patio so we can try to get some more use out of that because it just bakes in the sun and nobody likes to go out there. I mentioned it earlier, but the new minivan was a definite highlight this year. It's been a great addition, and we thank the town for providing that for us. Another great thing that we have is our partnership with Bread for Life. That just continues to flourish. So if you want to come in for lunch, they serve lunch on Wednesdays and Thursdays at Calendar House. They stepped in 2025 to assist us providing lunches 2 days per week because there were cuts to the federal nutrition program. So they came in and people just, they love them. They love the meals. They've recently increased the number that they are serving up to 30 each day. And we're working with them to begin using real dishes and silverware rather than disposables, which will potentially cut down on supply costs. Excuse me. And it'll just give a homier experience, with the lunch program. Lastly, this year our membership voted on a slogan for Calendar House, and the winning slogan was Calendar House where fun is ageless, which I thought was really cute. We did a t-shirt sale, and our members wore them in September. It was National Senior Center Month, and they all wore them to the membership meeting. We're working with SOCA for a new logo, and once we get that in place, we're going to have the minivan wrapped. I know that was something that you wanted to have happen.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're working on that, and we'll incorporate that in the design. So that's a few things that have been happening. And take a look at the budget. Is there anything that you want me to start with, or?
Start
No,
with
yeah.
temporary wages, that's your biggest increase, that changed the whole,
Yes.
makes the whole,
Yep. Okay.
change in the whole balance.
Right, okay, so there's quite a few things that are going on with that line item. So I've broken it down into 4 categories. The first would be dial-a-ride related. So we have our part-time backup drivers. These are tied directly to that state matching grant that I was referring to. So the part-time drivers, they supplement our dial-a-ride program. They allow us to accommodate more essential ride requests, and they provide backup during illness, personal, and vacation periods for full-time drivers. Without them, we would have to cancel essential rides when people were out. The addition of the new minivan has been great. We're so thankful for that. And I'd like to increase the amount of hours that we have available for the part-time drivers so that we can make sure that we're really utilizing that new capital investment. Okay. We also have a part-time dispatcher at the front desk, and I've kept that at 15 hours per week. We're doing okay with that. This allows our administrative assistant bus driver to be on the road when needed to meet demand. And again, both of those are tied directly to the matching grant. Our part-time instructors, we have 4 employee instructors. They teach 7 enrichment classes. We have 2 sessions each year, a 10-week session in the spring and a 10-week session in the fall. And then we have 2 employee instructors for ongoing exercise classes, and those meet for 4 classes every week. That's about $18,991 total for all of them. We also have our custodial and maintenance, and we have 2 people, 15 hours a week for each of them. Really high priority for safety, hygiene, building preservation. We have 1 person that comes in the morning, 1 that comes in mid-afternoon to early evening. The senior center has very high foot traffic. Most days, there are well over 100 members entering the building. In addition to that, there's the staff. We have vendors, traffic from the rec department, their programs that they have at night. There's specific sanitary needs for the building, including the kitchen, multiple restrooms. And besides the general cleaning and restocking, these staff members aid with setup and breakdown for events, opening and closing for weekend rentals, which can cut down on overtime costs. And in the summer, they may have increased hours due to outdoor watering, power washing, outdoor window washing. We do weekend projects, floor stripping and waxing, carpet cleaning, basic building maintenance. And even with those 2 employees, we have a gap during the day where we don't have anybody available for emergency situations, restroom incidents, things like that. So if we were to lose that, that gap would be even bigger.
What do you do if you have a situation like that in the middle of the day?
I get the plunger and the mop bucket. Myself, yes. I do. The last part of this is going to be our social services. So I put in a request asking for a part-time social worker. I've talked to Lara Nichols, and we actually decided to refer to this as a senior services aide. So this would be a new position. I have in here 20 hours per week. I think it would have to be 19 and a half. We would probably have to cut that down too. But this new position would create, it's an increase to this line item, but it would provide a lot of additional support. We get a ton of calls every day for people asking to speak to the social worker, the caseworker. We don't have one. So all of
Kind
those.
of thing, what kind of situation would they call the senior center to talk to a social worker? What would the
So-
situation be?
It could be a ton of things. They may call because they need assistance in applying for a program, Medicare Savings Program, or SNAP, or Husky. It could be that we get calls for people that are concerned for a neighbor. You know, they'll call and they'll say, my neighbor, I see her wandering outside, looks like she's lost weight, those types of things. So we get a lot of calls every day for multiple reasons. But the biggest thing is really the social service programs. So energy assistance, renter's rebate, the choices counseling. It's a lot for one person, for me to do, and also try to manage everything else that's going on at the center. So the help would be really appreciated. Most towns do have a social worker. Most towns, even smaller than ours, have a social worker.
If we're seeking a senior services aide, though, would you be looking for an LSW, an MSW, or just?
No, so the reason we put that in there, we decided to go with senior services aide. A lot of towns do call them social workers. I don't want to tie it just to a social work degree. Somebody could apply for that job that has a degree in sociology or psychology. They may not even need to have a degree. If it's somebody that's worked, many years in the senior center and has experience with these programs, that might be the right fit for us. So we don't want to say that it's a social worker.
Okay.
And, say that they have to have that degree. So that's why we decided to change the name. Okay. One thing I wanted to point out too about this line item is, it looks like there is an increase, obviously, because of the social worker. But let's see, for the part-time instructors, so there's an increase of about $4,500, but if you look at the program services line item, that's a reduction of $5,280. And the reason for that is we had one instructor for art classes, and we had to pay her as a vendor because she had a personal business, and the IRS rules would not allow us to pay her as an employee. So she's moved, which is unfortunate because she was a fantastic instructor. But we replaced her with somebody that we can pay as an employee, so that's coming out of temp seasonal. So we're adding $4,500 to this, but we reduced program services by $5,280. If that makes sense.
And I'm not sure if this is a question for you. Why would the senior services aide not go under regular wages? Is that?
I think we're just trying to keep it,
Okay.
a part-time position. I think it would be a good way to start, to make sure that it's a good fit for our center. It is something that we really need. I believe we definitely do need it, but rather than committing to, a full-time position, let's start at least with a part-time position, and, maybe it could transition to full-time at some point.
Are there any social workers employed at Calendar House?
There are no social workers, no. And that's, like I said, we get that question every day. Every day, somebody calls looking for a social worker, and those calls come to me. I am the municipal agent for the elderly, so, those calls should come to me. But most senior center directors are are the agent, and they have social workers that are working underneath them. Other thing I wanted to point out too about that line item, again, in regards to the state matching grant. So the total request would be 147,707, but we're reducing that by 14,699. That's part of the state matching grant funds. So that's bringing that down to the 126,08. The same thing applies with overtime. That's going to have matching grant, vehicle maintenance, and gasoline. They're all going to have matching grant funds that reduce the overall budget request.
And all the grants are on income, Chrissy?
Do you have to reapply for those grants every year, every 5 years, every?
Right now, they change it all the time. Right now, it's in a 3-year cycle, so the current cycle that we're on is good through the state fiscal year 28, and then we'll reapply. And basically, they just let us know each municipality has a set amount that you apply for, and it's based on the size of the municipality.
The new bus that Dawn spoke about, the grant that's in the match for that is in the capital, my proposed capital budget, just around 20.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The grant for the new bus.
The cost share for the town.
Okay, yeah.
The cost share for the town, the bus is in the capital budget.
Yes, yes. I think our portion is more than 20,000 though. Yeah. It's 20%. Our portion is 20%, okay.
20%, yeah.
Which, yeah, more than $20,000, yeah. Yeah, so that application, I'm currently working on that. That's due March 31st. There's actually, the legal notice will go in the Record Journal tomorrow for that. That's a Section 5310 grant, and that would replace our 2018 service bus. And when I say replace, we don't have to take that bus out of service. It's over 5 years old. It has about 130,000 miles on it, I believe. So it's minimal useful life. So the state will allow us to replace it. We can keep it in service, though. We can continue to use it until we can't use it anymore, basically, if we do get that grant. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Youth services.
John,
Thank you.
We know Ish.
Good evening. My name is John Essom. I'm the Director of Youth Services. The scope of youth services includes direct counseling, prevention, diversion, youth development, parent education, overall success and well-being of the young people in our community. We include school partnerships, grant-based initiatives, early intervention, and youth leadership. It's myself. I have a counselor 1, a counselor 2, a case manager that's involved with our youth diversion team and our truancy. We also have a youth prevention coordinator, and there is a program outreach coordinator as well that's grant funded through the PCC grant that assists. Our youth prevention coordinator serves primary liaison to the STEPS program. They oversee all prevention initiatives, education, and anything that's grant-related connected to our prevention program. Our youth counselors combined have a caseload of 55 students. They do, one does the reporting for all our data through our grant through the state of Connecticut and DCF. They also chair our youth diversion team. Our other oversees a lot of our youth development programs, as well as chairing our truancy attendance support team is what we call it now. They facilitate groups at the schools. They also see students at the schools, and they also see students in the office at the municipal center. Our case manager oversees our truancy, and as well as our youth diversion. They manage cases, do data for that. Those are grant-funded positions. We have our summer programming stuff, which includes our Yeti program. That's our core program, which does beautification projects and community projects throughout. We do mural programs. I don't know if you guys seen at the park, the Welcome to Southington, right by the pond over there. That was our mural program. We also do health programs, woodworking, music production, engineering, really anything that pops on our radar that looks like it could be beneficial to those kids. We currently work off of 6 grants. Our main grant is our DCF grant. That's including a base grant that the town matches, and that goes to salaries. We have an enhancement grant and a supplemental grant, and they got categories that fit in for that. And we could use that pretty much any way to develop, positive youth programming and supporting any type of need throughout the community. The youth diversion grant, that goes right to our case manager, but we could also use that to do youth employment for kids, that get in trouble. Also support as far as tutoring or any types of needs that they need, positive programming. And then we have a local prevention grant, a PCC grant that's going to be running out soon. That's a prevention grant. We have a gambling grant, and we have a smart recovery training grant. So a lot of the work that we do work off grant funding. And then, as far as our line items, if you have any question with anything we have with that, I'd be happy to answer that right now.
You work with at-risk youth or all youth?
All youth. We work at all youth.
In different programs?
Yeah, so we deal with a myriad of youth programming. We positive at-risk stuff. So our youth diversion team will deal with directly up. So the court system will do a risk assessment. The police do a great job sending kids to our youth diversion team if they see them as, not high-risk situations, shoplifting at Walmart or, toilet papering a house or something. So they'll send them directly to us, or if they do go to court, they'll do a risk assessment, send them to us, and then we case manage them, and we serve as, basically their parole officers, for lack of a better term, and we try to find them supports within the community. We try to connect them to positive things around, the community, and it's great for me because then they get on my radar, and now I get to build relationships with them and kind of keep a close eye. So, but we deal with all
You
youth.
got some success stories?
We do. Yeah, I mean, it's always a process, right? Because it might be something that's a short win in a week. It might be something that develops into a monthly thing. I feel as though all of those kids that come to me feel like there's trusted adults in our department. There's people that they go and turn to. They see me in the hallways. If I'm popping into the high school, they're always seeking me out and, feel comfortable to be able to ask me for those things. So we definitely have success stories.
I'm sorry, the case manager is in here because they're fully grant funded?
Yeah, that's grant funded, yeah.
Okay. As far as the rest of the positions under regular wages, are
Yep.
you fully staffed right now?
No, we are not. Our youth prevention coordinator position is open. So we're going to take a look at that based on department leads. We have, our counselors have been with the town for 38 and 42 years, so that is definitely on the horizon, potential retirements coming up. So the overall health of our department is definitely being looked at, and seeing how we could, keep our institutional norms in place and be able to serve our community the way we have for all these years. So we're definitely looking at all avenues as far as the future. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What do you say, 40?
48.
48. Welcome, Chief, Captains.
How are
Thank
you?
you for being here, and thank you for always, long tradition of putting together a nice supplemental proposal going into the details.
You can read that at your leisure. I'm Jack Daly. I'm the police chief. This is my
Welcome to Southern.
24th year of doing the budget. It's not my first load of pumpkins, as they say. Just to start, in 2020, the state of Connecticut passed the police accountability bill. Had a lot of good points, had some very costly points. It made policing totally different than it had been in the past. Everything's about de-escalation. We need more people on calls to handle these calls. It just made our job different. From when Eddie was a cop, and Steve, the job has changed.
Did you see Ed's picture all over the internet?
I did. With a butt,
He's a celebrity this
with a
week.
beard. The job has changed. It's gotten more and more difficult. It's more and more demanding. And it's just, the reason in the past, like I said, I've always tried to work within my budget for 24 years. I know this is a tough fiscal year, tough budget year. I've heard it for 24 years. I don't normally come to you and say, we need help. We need sworn police officers. We need bodies in the cars. You can't just take someone from another department, put them out in a cruiser. They're highly trained, and we have a different style. We have a different type of employee now that we didn't have when Ed or Steve was here. They don't want overtime. They want comp time. They have this life-work balance or work-life balance, whatever it is. They'll give you 120% when they're there, but they want their time off. And if they have to work overtime, they take comp time. And comp time's at time and a half, then they take it at straight time. It's just it's a cycle that I can't get out of, and we're getting buried. We need more personnel. In the union contract that we have, I have at least 8 different areas where I have flexibility. I can move people from shift to shift to avoid paying overtime. There's multiple parts of that contract that I can, and I've done for the past multiple years that have allowed us to make it this far. Now I need real bodies, and I know it is a tough year, and I know everything's on the table, but with that police accountability bill, every year it seems like they pass a new policy or a new mandate or new training. Every year it's like an assault on police. It's, what are we going to make them do this year? And we'll have a new training we have to send them to. We have to pay overtime for it because, or they take comp time. Either way, it's a cost that is not us generated. It's the state of Connecticut has forced us to do this. Like I said, I've worked within my police contract, and I was the union president many, many years ago, and so I knew a lot of areas, and when I changed a lot of the areas, some people didn't like it. But I had to do what I had to do in the best interest of the town. No names mentioned. I understand if I'm given, I ask for 2 sworn personnel. If I am given those, I understand I have more flexibility. You could take money out of our overtime line to help pay for the cost of that. These are just things that I know we can handle between people wanting comp time. One thing in the overtime line that you don't realize is that $75,000 last year paid premium holiday pay. So it's not all overtime out of that line. There's things.
And that's when a shift crosses a holiday? Somebody's just working and Thanksgiving comes up or Christmas comes up?
Anyone that's working
And it's not in their control
on the
or out of
holiday,
their control,
they
just-
get time and a half.
Just the cadence of their work.
Yep.
Hits the holiday.
There's things in the budget I put in for. Our budget is very fluid. If you give me this, we can work with you here and cut it. We put in for, in the CIP, the capital improvement program, we put in for a carport for the back of the station. Alex asked us to put in for the snow plowing in the back. If we had a carport, this carport would cover the entire back parking lot, and we, through Alex's help with the town's energy, we found a company that will do it for no charge and would be able to lower our utilities
Do they
costs.
take some of the energy as a fee? Like you put up the solar panels, you get a little deal, but they get the energy? How does it
Isn't that the way it's?
It's it's called a PPA, Power Purchase Agreement, where you're locked in for a 20-year fixed price on the energy. Right now, it's about 70% less than the Eversource rate.
So it helps the town,
We get
but
the-
it also the
we get
solar
the free
company gets some
canopy.
benefit out
They're
of it
going to pay
also.
they'll pay for the
There's a-
canopy?
Tax
Totally.
credit expires.
Are we doing this?
2 months.
It's all contingent upon, I'm waiting to hear, because it was contingent upon the Board of Ed was offered a deal, and if they do that deal, they'll do our station, they'll save the Board of Ed money, so it's and I haven't heard
Package deal?
anything since, it's a package deal.
Al,
I think it's all or nothing.
Where are we at with this?
It's with the Board of Ed. I believe they're going to be taking it up, but
Oh, all right, they didn't take it up yet?
it hasn't been on their agenda. I can follow up with the superintendent to see.
We should,
It's going
because
to be.
that's,
I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like a hell of a deal. I mean, they're going to pay for a carport. I mean,
And that would, and then,
you
even
get
though
the-
we'd have to pay some more money to have someone there to plow, the whole back parking lot would be covered.
right,
So you wouldn't have to,
I know, it's a.
Be
I mean, you
plowing
gotta move
under there.
cruisers, I
but
mean,
we can see if they really want to talk a deal, if it works in the municipal center or somewhere else, and put a few of them, if it's a benefit, right?
sounds like a benefit to me. I mean.
Not
this-
just the school and the
No, no, I
PD,
understand.
but does
It's just-
anybody else
This
need
is the
a-
stuff that we should be doing, and this is the stuff I bang my head against. I mean.
it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's, all right. So it's not, this is just in a discussion phase and,
But you got to understand, don't cut my plowing
No,
account,
no,
or
no,
don't cut
no,
my
no.
utilities if the Board of Ed says, no, we're not doing it. And then it doesn't happen for us.
understood.
But I wonder if we take a total town view, is there anywhere else where this program could stretch and benefit? Not just the police station parking lot or the high school parking lot, is there anywhere else?
I've reached out to the vendor, asked him, I know we don't, the housing authority separate, but the housing authority just signed a contract. They're solarizing carports, all their parking lots, and they're making oodles of.
Yeah,
And the
think you were
benefit of
working on-
parking.
yeah, no, I was there when they did it. Yeah, it's
so
a
less
great,
plowing, but I will follow up to see if there's other areas in town,
Okay.
possibly the municipal center, that we could do more.
And what does the vendor get out of this? 30% of the energy?
For, the vendor gets, I'm not smart enough to explain this, but they get a solar tax credit that's expiring in 2 months, end of March, I'm
gotta sign
sorry.
the deal.
Oh, so we have to move on that.
40%,
Yeah.
they get 40% back of the purchase price, of the install price. So some of that expired. So it's got to be done within the next, I want to say 30 to 60 days. Signed with 30 to 60
Okay,
days.
so that probably needs to get on the Board of Ed agenda, huh? Okay.
Like, I'll be honest, I look at our budget as a big pie. Every year, my piece of the pie is getting smaller and smaller. I think it's our turn to eat. We need help, and I've said in the past, I believe, I know a lot of towns that the Board of Ed funds the school resource officer. We have a school resource officer that every year I have to do an in-kind service report. And so out of my piece of the pie, over $100,000 goes to the Board of Ed. So we just want a piece of the pie.
I think, I read something on that. I think 54 out of 89 towns, it's either they pay for the SRO completely or partial, It's significant. I was just, someone just sent me something on that. I was reading something on that.
So-
No.
So Chief, are you saying that if we were to approve your two officers, there's other areas in the budget that you're willing to reduce?
Absolutely.
So you'll tell us which areas
Well,
those are?
the overtime is a definite one. We could reduce that, absolutely. It's not a one-for-one
No.
offset, but what
you're
it is,
willing.
is
You're flexible.
we have to, we have an unwritten minimum staffing. Right now, I have 3 people out on workers' comp. We had 8 babies born in 2025. I know of already 5 that'll be born in 2026. I got a day when my kids were born. Not everyone's like Alex, who took 2 days when he had a baby. I got people that, male, female, would take 12.
Chief, I didn't have a baby. My wife had the baby. Just for the record.
But you could have had 12 weeks just like her. That's different. We have to, these are things that I can't complain about. They're the law. The FMLA is killing us. Workers' comp, this is a dangerous job. People get hurt, and they get hurt and have to take time off. It's not Little Southington. We're a busy community, and we need to help.
You may notice the information technology line item in the police has been removed. They're one of the largest users of IT. So that, when we spoke on Tuesday, that is all reflected in the IT budget now. So there's some movement there, if you were looking for. I know Captain Armack does a great job of kind of breaking down the dozens of programs and costs that we need to fund.
Chief, is there anywhere to get to your 2 bodies in a car, like boots on the street, as we always say? You're willing to go to anywhere within your toolbox
I'm
to
open for anything.
reduce another
Just
position somewhere else?
If you want to
if
talk
possible?
about it, I'll tell you, okay, you can do this, but this, and this still will be in it. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
Everything's on the table.
You need it all, but you're
except my
favoring
sworn
police
personnel.
officers.
I need my sworn personnel, and that's my priority.
That's John. I don't know.
What about the cruiser? Would that be the next priority?
I'm
I'm just
sorry,
trying to think of things you're saying we can cut anywhere, but the cruiser seems like it might be important too.
The extra
Yeah.
cruiser?
Yeah.
That's my car.
Oh.
It's got, let me explain. It's got 90,000 miles on it. It's the transmission slipping, and if you want to reduce that, I don't care. But if my transmission blows, you might want to increase my cruiser maintenance account, because I don't care what I drive.
Thank you.
Well, John, we'll just reach out to the chief.
We'll have our workshops, and when we're at that spot, we'll just have somebody go out of the room and call the chief, or one of the captains, if you can't get a hold of the chief.
I'm always
We'll
available.
work it out on the spot when we're in the room.
I'm always
Because
available.
if we throw scenarios out here,
No, that's-
it's very public.
It's not fair.
And if I put a
Right.
name out,
Yep.
you know, we're going to get rid of Officer Leary, you know, it causes a lot of anxiety in the.
We already got rid of him. Sorry, he didn't tell you yet.
So we don't want to, you know, any strategy type thing, as we're looking, somebody from the board will pick up the phone, call you and say, Chief, how would this work for you? We do the same with anybody, anything we're going to touch.
I'll work with you. I need sworn bodies in the cars. I can't continue at this pace.
It's much busier. It's gotten significantly busier for the guys and the girls on the road, I'm 4 years removed from it here, and significantly busier and more dangerous,
The
too.
flock system was the greatest thing you ever gave us for police work, but it entails a lot of extra work. we're able now to track someone down, and then you got to do an arrest warrant for them. And the paperwork that now is required is incredible. It's not Eddie's day where you,
Is that considered a downside to the whole thing? Or,
Of the
you know,
flock thing? No.
Not the flock.
I'll never,
The whole police accountability bill, a lot of the aspects of it, it costs a lot of money, it takes a lot of time. Are we, at the end of the day, are we better off in the community from it and from all the expenses? Or was maybe there a better solution that would have been more effective, more efficient?
oh, I think the police accountability bill was meant to demonize police and to get people to say, I don't want to be a cop, and I'll be a fireman.
And a lot of them retired because of it. A lot of
And we had a lot of people retired, and
Mass retirements around the state, it's a different era and made it significantly harder.
and this new generation of cops, they're 10 times smarter than I ever was. They're going to live because while the job is stressful, they have the sense to take time away from the job which I never did.
And they said that right in the academy. They invited all the families to a dinner in Waterbury, and some guy got up and spoke, and he said, you better have something outside of this, and when you go home, you better shut the radio off and just, your job is over, find something else, find another passion and engage in it. Some guy spoke for a long time on that.
They didn't tell us that, and when I was in the academy, they told you work.
But they had a guy come specific for that. And families were invited, and they had a dinner, and the guy spoke extensively on that.
This officer wellness, it's a great thing for the officers. It's a terrible thing for the chiefs because we are blessed in this town. Right now, we're budgeted for 73. We have 74 because Alex let us overhire by one person because I know someone's retiring next month. And so he'll be ready to go on the road when that guy retires. That's the only thing that has saved us up to this point, being proactive.
In what way did the Police Accountability Act drive costs up?
What's that?
Obviously, I've only been on the board for a few months. In what way did the Police Accountability Act drive up the costs for your department?
They require body cams for all police officers, dashboard cams. They require additional training. We're mandated every 3 years. We have to do 60 hours of recertification. We have to get accredited by the end of 2026, Tier 3 accreditation through the state of Connecticut. We have to work on that. There's just all these different nuances that got added in and codified. Post comes out with new policies all the time that we have to follow, we have to enact. So it's just, and like I said, not all of it's bad. There's some things that if I was a union person when body cameras first came out, I probably would have got all upset, Big Brother watching me and everything. I think officers are starting to realize they're the best things in the world for officers because everyone's realizing the cops aren't the bad people, they're the good people, and the body cams are showing that.
They're only going to show what happens, yeah.
But the time, right, to Katie's question, the time to review, some policeman goes and writes a report. He doesn't anymore write it from memory or notes. He then has to check the body cameras. He's in there, watching a video and making sure the video agrees with his notes, agrees with his report. It's all good big picture, but the cost of it.
And then we get FOI requests for the body cam. So then someone has to take that body cam footage and watch it, and if there's any juveniles in it, they have to blot out their faces. It's just everything takes
overtime,
more and more and more time.
And if it's not overtime, it's clogging up the time of an officer.
Exactly. And then we go from X number of officers on the road to a lot less.
What about the hundreds of shopliftings where they give them to you on a video stick or whatever it is?
They'll give you five past shopliftings.
And then your cop is tied up for his whole shift.
Yep, the whole shift plus, because he's got to do the investigation, then he has to type the warrant, then when they get the guy, they have to to process him, then they send him to court, he'll go to court and they'll annul it.
Lovely Connecticut.
They said there was a, I won't talk about that.
All right, don't, stick to the budget.
Any other questions, or?
Nope.
I'm more than open to,
We'll reach out when we get to that point in
Yeah.
the conversation.
Thanks
Okay.
for being flexible. We look forward to
Yeah, thanks.
talking to you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Paige.
And thank everybody
Thank
else
you.
back at the entire police department.
I will, thank you.
Chairman,
58, fire.
Well, he's a tough act to follow, so I'm not even going to try to show off as well as he can.
Chief, I get to call you chief now.
I know, it's kind of weird, isn't
I
it?
still called you chief before.
You can call me Scott, too.
I do it for expediency. Now I can't do it any other way. You're the chief.
Got no choice. So some department highlights for us. We have 38 career staff covering administration, operations, the fire marshal's office, and we have 2 civilian staff. Our career staff is at headquarters and Station 5 for our 24-hour shifts. Station 3 is covered Monday through Friday days only. We have 2 volunteer companies, one out of headquarters with 16 members, Company 2 and Plantsville with 15. Last year, we responded to 2,539 calls for service, 935 building inspections, 188 building plan reviews, 48 community risk reduction home safety inspections. What does the fire department do for the town? At first glance, that question seems pretty simple. You put fires out. But the reality is far broader. We're an all-hazards public safety agency responding to both emergency and non-emergency incidents across the community. In many cases, we are the agency called when a person has a problem they cannot safely solve on their own. Our services are wide-ranging and proactive, not just reactive. Everyone's familiar with the emergency response and problem solving that we do on a regular basis. Daily we respond to fires, motor vehicle accidents, hazardous conditions, alarm activations, weather-related emergencies, public assistance calls, technical rescues, medical emergencies. But beyond suppression, we mitigate hazards, protect property, stabilize incidents, restore normalcy to the community as quickly and as safely as possible. Fire prevention, which is the enforcement and education side of us. We don't just respond to emergencies, we work to prevent them. Through our fire marshal's office, we provide building plan reviews, code enforcement, fire safety inspections, occupancy compliance oversight. These proactive efforts reduce fire loss, protect businesses, and safeguard residents long before an emergency occurs. The Community Risk Reduction Program is the cornerstone of our fire prevention mission, and it's for public education and community risk reduction. We provide school-based fire safety education. So during the month of October is Fire Safety Month. This year we were able to touch 9 elementary schools, 11 daycares and nursery schools, and 6 fire station tours that impacted 2,008 children from the age of toddlers through 2nd grade. Senior citizen outreach programs. We conduct CPR classes in conjunction with South Central Health District. We have community fire prevention presentations, home safety surveys, and smoke and carbon monoxide alarm inspections and replacement at no cost to the residents. These programs save lives. In January of 26, we responded to a commercial building fire where the occupants were alerted by smoke and CO alarms that our personnel verified was in compliance with the Connecticut Life Safety Code during a required inspection. That intervention directly contributed to a safe outcome. We continue to advocate and promote our community risk reduction program to increase participation and enhance community safety. In training and professional development, preparedness is not an accident. It's built through deliberate training. In 2005, our members completed 16,693 hours of training with 6,481 individual or combined training events. These trainings include in-house drills and evolutions, live fire training, technical rescue operations, hazardous materials response, officer development, mutual aid coordination, and cold ice water rescue training. We leverage the Bristol Fire Department training facility and acquire vacant and residential commercial properties to conduct realistic scenario-based training. Additionally, we try to secure grant funding for training opportunities. We bring in subject matter experts without increasing local costs. We offer training to outside agencies, strengthening our regional capability. This ensures our members remain highly competent, current, and operationally ready. The bigger picture. The fire department protects life and property, reduces long-term municipal risk exposure, supports economic stability by protecting businesses, provides regulatory oversight of construction and occupancies, educates future generations, supports seniors and vulnerable populations, maintains regional interoperability, serves as a problem-solving resource for the community. We are not simply a response agency. We're a prevention agency. We're a regulatory agency. We're an education agency. We're a training institution. We're a regional public safety partner. And when something goes wrong, we're the agency the community calls. With regard to innovative cross controls, that is not as clear as if we were a factory producing an item in which we could look at specific processes or for improvements. However, we can look at improvements and measures to offset costs to bring in revenue. We can do this through aggressive quoting for products or utilizing existing contracts through the state or other entities such as Sourcewell and HGAC. Primarily, our cost offset is through the application of award of local and federal grants, primarily for training and equipment. In terms of revenue, we're fortunate to be reimbursed by the state for responses to Interstate 84 and 691. Fiscal year to date is $30,000. Last year was $64,500. As well as our plan review and inspection fee structure, which fiscal year to date $73,535. Last year was $195,470. And lastly, we're usually asked what we're most proud of in our department, and that's one of the simplest questions for us to answer. It's our people. We have extremely dedicated and professional personnel who have a strong and ongoing commitment to the safety of our community. They provide the most efficient and effective service delivery with what we can provide them. So the budget before you from the town manager reflects a 9.6% increase from last year. The budget maintains our current level of service while continued challenges with price increases, market volatility, supply chain issues, specific line items that are noted below. We look forward to answering the questions to the best we can. The fire department is presenting a budget that provides services and support for the department and the community in a fiscally responsible manner. This proposal was able to manage increases that are impacting ours and other service industries as a result of varying economic factors. It allows the department to continue to provide high-level quality training, manage technology changes and updates, and support various programs for all of our community. This will allow us to continue our mission to protect the community and its visitors in an efficient and economical manner. For our regular wages line, you'll see an increase of 12.86%, and this is representative of the recent collective bargaining agreement settlement that awarded 2 gross wage increases, resulting in a 6.09% increase. This also reflects 3 new firefighter positions that were not awarded through the SAFER grant. It is also my request and the Board of the Fire Commissioners that the Board of Finance increases the salary line for the vacant Assistant Chief position to the amount of $135,000 from the Town Manager's recommended $124,325. We believe the minimal differential does not adequately reflect the increased responsibility, administrative oversight, operational authority, and liability associated with that position. More importantly, it does not create a meaningful incentive for qualified internal candidates to pursue advancement. The compression will directly impact succession planning and will likely require the department to continue seeking external candidates to fill this role rather than developing and promoting from within. With the salary increase for that Assistant Chief position, we'll have an increase of 9.78% overall instead of a 9.6%, which is a difference of $10,675. The longevity line was probably one of our largest increases at 73.86%, but that will begin to subside as our members retire. It's roughly a $6,500 increase over fiscal year 26, and it's contractually driven.
So, Chief, you're not seeing the book I'm seeing, but there's a line in here called 2027 Department, and then there's 2027 Town Manager.
Yes.
So the department line was 6.5 million, well, they're similar. 6516 versus Town Manager 6491.
Correct.
Is the 6516 reflective of the number your commission finally settled on?
6516 is what the commission agreed to, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure, a couple of years ago, we weren't using the columns.
Yeah.
We were kind of making them equal, and then somebody would say police, usually it's the ones that have the commission in between. Police and fire would say, that wasn't my number. My number was something different. So we said, let's use department to represent what the commission came forward with. We'll use manager to represent what the manager may have adjusted.
Correct. And there were a couple small adjustments, obviously. The Board of Fire Commissioners had a salary for the chief at $169,000. That was reduced to $158,500 for me. And we had $138,415 for the assistant chief position, and that's where town manager put that at $124,325. So it's a, I have a note here, hang on. Where did I put it?
The chief's also being too nice. I also removed some of his larger capital requests, most notably funding 1 year of a fire truck.
Thank you, sir.
But we're good on equipment, though, overall, right?
Yes.
When I see it,
It's the
talk
maintenance
about-
of it. So, for example, the vehicle that the town manager spoke of that was pushed off a year, that is to maintain our shift commander's vehicle. So people look at our vehicles like the SUVs, they may only have 60,000 miles on them, but you look at the hour meter, it's based on 35 miles an hour with those hours. So the current car 4, which is the shift commander's vehicle, has 47,000 miles on it, but the hour equivalency is 97,000 miles.
And why is that? It sits idle?
Idle time. We can't turn them off because then the lights don't work. It doesn't charge radios, nothing works. So when it goes out,
That's the same with
lights are
police
on.
cars, though, too, right?
Yep. Difference is that their
So
cars
the
run for
mileage
the
you
entire
read
shift.
isn't really reflective or indicative of the overall wear and tear?
Correct. And it's increased maintenance, obviously. So a police cruiser takes more abuse than our shift commander's vehicles do. Hence, he needs more vehicles. You know, it makes sense, but
And Chief, like we said to the police chief, we'll probably end up having to call you in the middle of our workshops at some point when
Always
we get there
available.
and say, Chief, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?
Can I ask a question about overtime?
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
I don't want to start a fight, but if we if we don't add the 3 new firefighters,
Yes.
does that reduce your
it does.
overtime?
And it's not a ginormous reduction, unfortunately. I think I had it calculated at about $27,000.
So it would still increase about 80,000 from 26 regardless?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, by my rough calculations, it came out to $27,524 for the 3. And that's just education driven for the new guys.
Chief, can I just follow up on that?
Sure.
What, can you explain the methods or assumptions you use to calculate your overtime?
Believe it or not, I actually go through the calendar and count how many days the guys are out, and then try and figure out if they're out for more than one shift. It's challenging, and it's an average of about 0.7 firefighters a day, on average, is how it calculates out. So I use a rough number of $68 an hour for replacement, and that's where those numbers come from. And then obviously the required training, that's the other portion of it. So I have 35 line firefighters that need to have training done off duty because it's a requirement. There's my cost. Hopefully that was clear as mud.
Well,
The different world being in the office job versus on the truck, huh?
I miss my fire truck, but I love my guys, so.
Thank
We
you,
will
Chief.
have to reach out, Chief. It's
Yes, absolutely.
more the
Thank you.
beginning
Look forward
than the
to
end
it.
here. I just want to make one statement. I made it for the record before, just to remind everybody, people have to be aware that the revaluation in town has shifted the properties overall, the real estate has increased 53.7%. That would be fine if every property increased 53.7%. The mill rate would be set down, the town would still collect the same amount of money. The scenario we're seeing is the grand list increased 53.7%, the mill rate will go down, and if we're talking about the current budget, the town would receive the same amount of money, the $154 million. The town is not looking to make a penny more or less from the reval. The problem is that every property did not revalue the same or very, very similar like every other reval we've seen in my time here. What has happened, the small homes, the starter homes, the modest homes, condos, multifamily, entry-level type homes have increased sometimes 100%, where the whole grand list increased 53.7%. I'm just trying to make this clear. I'll just keep repeating this until people, just become aware of it. These are based upon market values. It's not something the town did. There's a state statute. We revalue the grand list every 5 years. Every 5 years, we do a hard revaluation where somebody comes in the house and formally looks at the house, and every 5 years, we do a soft one where they go to a market reference and just mark to market. But market prices have gone up, and people want to challenge their assessments. Challenge them if they're wrong. The assessor was here and spoke, and they said the town is 100% committed to getting the assessments right. But we can't have one assessment for assessing taxes and another assessment for assessing fair market value. The truth and the reality is that the supply is down, demand is up, and the price went up on the modest homes. As a result of that, we're seeing people start to comment that their taxes are going up $1,300, $1,500, and they're kind of shocked, because normally taxes on those homes would go up $200, $300, give or take. The most of it, the majority, at least 75, 80% of it, is from the revaluation, because the smaller houses are taking on a bigger share of the overall taxes for the town. That's a point I want to make, and people will see it if they start to take their new assessments that were sent out, and they multiply them by the mill rate of 22.41, the equivalent mill rate. Right now, the blended mill rate is 32.81 cars in real estate. With the new revalued values, they should use a number of 22.41 and see where they are in the current budget. Forget the new budget. And then if they want to start looking at the new budget, the mill rate that's being proposed at the moment is 24.54. So you can do the math. Just a couple high-level things to point out. Everybody's ever been on the Board of Finance or has always heard, this is a bad year. Bad year, bad year. The longer you've been here, the longer you heard it. But I thought last year was the worst I've ever seen in terms of increases. This year, just to give you an idea, Board of Ed going from 121.9 million of spend to 130.1 million. That's up 8.2 million of spend. And if they're in the room, they would tell you it's basically level services. Maybe they're thinking of adding a person here or there, one or two, in 1,120. They call it a level services budget. Nothing changing, same buses, picking up the same kids, bringing them to the same place, educating them in a very similar manner. They'll call it level services with their own assertions. But the Board of Ed budget going up 6.7%. General government went from 53.3 million to 58.8 million, up 5.6 million, up 10.5%. Never saw general government up 10.5. It's always been around 4.5, 5. Never saw 10.5 increase in general government. But if you listen to all these meetings, you hear the need. Police chief comes up and says things are getting complicated, we have a need. Fire's been saying it for quite a while now, that applying for the SAFER grant, they just want to have 4 new people. They have 1, they want 3 more to staff a shift. But we're hearing it's not just there, it's across the board, there's need. Debt service went down. Chrissy refinanced the bonds. It's normal financial stuff. But instead of paying 13.3 for debt service, we're going to pay 12.8. So we'll take it. 548,000, down 4.1%. So the net is spending is what we always have to watch. Spending is up 7%. You'll hear a lot of people say, well, if the state just paid more, the feds just paid more, or if somebody else just paid, my grandmother gave me some money, it'd be nice. The bottom line is it's not so much where it comes from kind of masks it. It all starts with what is the spending, where are we with spending, and then the next question, of course, how are we going to pay for it? Is it going to be local property tax? Is it state grants? Is it a SAFER grant, a federal grant? How do we pay for it? But it makes for a very challenging budget for all of us. Even, we're in different philosophies on different things, but no matter who you are, this is a challenging budget because revenue also went down. That's another thing I didn't mention. Revenue went down 1.1 million. revenue goes down, then that means taxes have to pay for the missed revenue and the additional expenses. So when you add all that up, you're up 13.2 in expenses, you're down 1.1 in revenue, some uncollectible percentage, 300 grand. You're at 14.6 requests for new taxes. We need 14.6 million more in taxes this year than last year for Board of Ed, essentially the same stuff, and for town to move the needle a little bit, and people will say you're not even addressing the need. That's where we are right now. So just putting it out there, not complaining about it, that's the truth of the numbers. And then it's our job now to sit down and figure out of all the need, which is the greater need, and which one we think we're going to have to recommend to town council, and then they'll do the same thing. They'll look at it and say, yeah. And once we do it, people will become very much aware of it, and they'll start to lean on town council and say, yes, we need these things, or they're going to say, how could you increase at this given time with all the reval? But one thing, they're related things, but they're separate. The reval is an honest process trying to mark your property to market. It's called mark to market. You want to get the right value of the assets to be honest with people, and then when you have an honest value of their assets, you take the cost the town needs, not any more, any less. Because the property went up, we don't get a dime more. We're going to set the mill rate for exactly what we need. Last year, that was $153,571,863. In this current budget, it's $168,171,889. We're only going to seek to get that amount in taxes. And we're going to do that by setting the mill rate against the grand list, and we add another 1.5% for uncollectible. We tax a little bit more than what we need because people challenge assessments. But that's to be honest with people. But in being honest and looking at this whole thing, smaller houses have revalued way more than the larger houses have revalued in percent increase in market value. They are shorter on supply and they are bigger on demand. That's the truth of it. Somebody in here, I think it was Sandy, who was doing our videography early before we started the meeting, said that one house was for sale and it sold for over almost like $70,000 more than the asking price. And they see it in the clerk's office when they go to process all the paperwork. That's what's happening out there. You go to look at a house for $400,000, should be worth $2 million, and you end up having to pay $475,000 to win the bid to get it. That's our reality, but that's truth, and that truth is reflected in the assessments. I'll say it over and over again until people start to really understand it. Take your assessments out, multiply them by 0.02454, and you'll see where your taxes are projected to land right now, and then you're going to see what we're faced with. So thank you all. And we'll just end the meeting here. If anybody has a question or wants to chat, we're here for a minute or two. It is what it is.